One of the questions I get asked the most is how I'm paying for Oxford and whether I thought it was a good investment in my future. Do not take that risk with loans if you do not have a plan to pay it off. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin. I'm a master's student at the University of Oxford studying history, and in the fall I will be heading to Yale University for my PhD in history and African American studies. Today I'm going to be addressing the question of whether or not you should consider going to graduate school in 2020. Oftentimes when there is a great economic recession, people tend to go back to school in order to increase their likelihood of them being hired later on. They want to increase their credentials and they want to make themselves more employable later down the road when things improve. Over the past several weeks, I've been receiving a lot of messages about whether or not to apply to grad school and where to apply to grad school. Since I'm currently in graduate school myself and I also have an undergraduate and postgraduate admissions consulting service, I get a lot of questions like this, especially related to the application process, the GRE, other things that are going to be applicable when thinking about applying to the United States for a master's degree or PhD or MBA or law degree, and if you're thinking about perhaps applying to the UK. So my specialty is looking at US and UK programs. I help students decide whether or not grad school is right for them. I help them figure out which schools are best for them. And so today I wanted to address a couple of your questions. So I'm going to be talking about why you should consider going to grad school and why it might not be the best idea to apply to grad school right now. In this video, I'm going to be asking you a bunch of different questions that I want you to personally consider yourself if you think that you are going to apply to grad school. So the first question that I'm going to ask is, what is your why? First off, the very obvious one is, why do you want to go to grad school in the first place? Is it that you feel that it'll make you more employable? Is it that you want to do more research? Is it that you want to get a law degree or you want to go to business school? There are certain skills that you want to acquire. You want to further your knowledge in a subject area. You love academia, you love research, and you just want to continue in your academic journey, perhaps even into a career in academia. So your reason for why you want to go to grad school is incredibly important, because if your only reason for going to grad school is to become more employable, then there's further questions that you need to ask yourself about whether or not your master's degree or some other type of graduate degree is actually going to get you the type of career that you want. And then you want to question whether or not that career is actually right for you. I get messages from people all the time that say, you know, I graduated undergrad a year ago and I think I might want to go to law school. And my first question is always, do you want to be a lawyer? And oftentimes the person who says that they want to go to law school just wants the experience of going to law school, and they also want the payout and they want to make a big paycheck when they graduate, but they aren't considering the loans, they aren't considering the actual coursework that's going to be involved in the degree. And those are the types of things that you want to consider when you think about why you want to go to graduate school. Also, you want to know what type of graduate degree you want to pursue. You want to think about what types of programs and all those kinds of things. So what I want you to think about strategically is, what is your why? And now we're going to move on to question number 2. What is your potential? 1, what is your potential of actually making it into a graduate program at this time, given your credentials? And then 2, how is that degree going to help you in your future? What is the potential of that degree and whether it's a good investment? So we'll talk about that a little bit later, about the financial side of it, but I want you to think a little bit about where you are right now. Can you get into the programs that you really want to get into or will need to get into in order to have the type of career that you want or to lead you in the direction of a certain goal? And then in addition to that, what is the potential of that degree? What types of connections will it help you make? So for example, I had a friend in one of my African history classes named Kelly, and she loved broadcast journalism, and she had a nonprofit. She was an incredibly successful and really interesting individual, and she then went on to apply for a master's degree in the journalism school at Columbia. She then came to me and said, I've been accepted, but I don't know if it's the right thing to do. I don't know if I should actually go. And I said, okay, what's the potential of that degree? What is the possible investment that you're making with your time in addition to money? But what kind of investment are you making in that program that's going to lead you to a career down the road? And my advice was, you can either work your way up the field, working your way up the corporate ladder, so to speak, or you can go and get into a program such as Columbia, which is one of the best journalism programs in the country, and you may be able to network with people that you would otherwise not have any opportunity to meet or work with, and they may have the connections to get you an internship or job later down the road. And she now has a position at CNN in Atlanta after completing her journalism degree at Columbia. So a graduate degree can definitely get you a foot in the door and can help you with those connections, but is it going to be worth it? And also, are you going to be able to get into the programs that are going to get you those connections? So it's all just a calculated risk, and you want to analyze the risk versus the benefit. So number 3 is really important. It kind of goes off of number 2, and that is, what is the investment? You want to think about how it's an investment in your life, in your finances, and you want to think about how that's going to impact your living situation, your family, your friendships, all of that. All of these things are an investment. One of the questions I get asked the most is how I'm paying for Oxford and whether I thought it was a good investment in my future. And I took out $60,000 in US loan debt in order to attend Oxford for my master's degree. And the reason that I did that was because I wanted to make sure that I was in the best position possible to then apply for PhDs in the United States. That being said, somebody might think that that is a bad investment because you can go straight to a PhD with an undergrad degree. But for me, I wanted to get into the absolute best schools possible for my PhD because of the type of research that I wanted to do and the people I wanted to work with. I figured if I applied right away out of undergrad, I didn't have the research experience, and I wanted to really thoroughly flesh out my research question before then applying, because I wanted to be confident in that application. For me, that $60,000 of loan debt was worth it, and I know that I'm going to be able to pay that off. But I will be the first to tell you, do not take that risk with loans if you do not have a plan to pay it off. Don't take on loans on a whim. You want to be very careful, very calculated about how you are spending your money and investing in yourself and your education and your time. And then in addition to the financial side, you want to make sure that you're also thinking about the time investment that you're making. Can you work your way up a particular field, a particular, say, corporate ladder without a graduate degree? And so for, say, business, there are certain jobs where you can work your way up and then you will hit a paid wall where you are going to need an MBA in order to then get to the next step. That's an entirely personal decision on the type of money that you want to make in the future, the type of career opportunities you want to have. And for me, I wanted to get a master's degree because I wanted to get into the top PhD programs, and that investment to me paid off because I got into my dream program at Yale. And I'm gonna do another video on graduate school financing because I think it's something that we don't talk about enough and something that I want to discuss more on this channel. So if that's something that you guys are interested, please give this video a thumbs up to let me know that's something you guys would like to see. So you wanna think about your time and your financial investment overall. You also want to think about what opportunities that degree can give you. You cannot practice law without a law degree, but you can absolutely practice business and own a business down the road without an MBA. In addition to that, you cannot be a professional historian in a university without a PhD, but you can become a public intellectual, and there's other ways that you can kind of practice the discipline of history without the training. Though personally, I believe that the training is very important. That being said, it really depends on your goals and what it is that you want to accomplish and whether that degree is going to get you there. Is it worth the time? Is it worth the money? Number 4 is, where do you want to apply? How applicable are you to the top universities? The programs that you might want to apply to may be very niche and may not even be at the universities that are ranked in the top 10 for their undergrad programs, but maybe number 1 for their fashion and merchandising or for a certain type of engineering. So you want to really do your research, and you want to make sure that you have a list of schools that you can apply to, that you are excited about, that you want to move to, that you want to study at. There's people there you want to work with. You want to make sure that if you're going to invest in the possibility of attending graduate school, that it is the perfect school for you. And you also want to make sure that that program is going to have everything that you are going to want, and that they are going to want everything that you have to offer. That's all about your marketing skills, and it depends on your application, but having that initial list gives you a place to get started. And this is something that I talk about with my clients all the time, is if they're not quite sure where they should be applying, that they do their research and that they see what types of programs are being offered, but in addition to that, what courses are being taught, and do they get you excited? So that's one thing that you need to be thinking about if you're thinking about going to grad school. Now we're gonna go on to number 5. I've already talked about this a little bit, but is your dream career accessible without a graduate degree? Graduate degrees are incredibly expensive, especially depending on where you go. I flew all the way across the pond to attend Oxford, and it would have been cheaper perhaps to do a master's at, say, UCLA, because it's a state school and I would have gotten in-state tuition. But for me, doing a 9-month program was more worth it in terms of my time and my financial investment than doing a 2-year master's degree at a closer, more local university. For me, my dream career is not accessible without a PhD or a law degree, and I hope to do both. So what you want to do is assess your career opportunities. You want to see if it's possible to access that career without a graduate degree. But the other thing that you want to consider is if there is a paywall without having a certain degree. This particular question is very much geared towards people that are wanting to consider doing an MBA, but I think it's generally applicable elsewhere. Think about what it is you want to do, what is your dream career, and see whether or not you really need a graduate degree in order to get there. And then the last step is to just do it. If you have watched this video and you're like, yes, I want to make the time investment, and yes, I want a graduate degree because it'll get me to the career of my dreams, or yes, I want a graduate degree because it'll help me improve my skills in a particular area, it'll help me access certain networking opportunities, it'll help me access certain career opportunities, then absolutely you should go for it. And then the next step is just applying. I plan on making a bunch of different videos on the application process for master's programs in the US and the UK, as well as PhD programs. But if there's anything else that you guys would like to see specifically, please leave me a comment down below. I really love hearing from you guys and getting your feedback. So if this video was helpful for you guys, please give it a thumbs up. And if you guys are not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.
He started with hello on a summer afternoon. I lost myself and everybody else when I found you.